This is a 1955 17-foot Higgins Sport Speedster. It has a 200 horsepower Ford Interceptor engine in it, and we live in Michigan, and I'm going to show what I do to winterize this boat. The equipment I use is fairly simple. First of all, I have a hose with a simple shutoff valve on it, which allows me to have a little bit of convenience when I'm providing the cooling water for the engine. And then I purchased, I think some people call this a fake lake. It's basically a plunger with a connection on it. It has a telescoping handle which allows you to extend to the make it so that it can fit underneath the boat and be secure. I cut off a piece of hose and set it up so that it has two female connections on it, one at each end. Then I have a bucket here which I just got at Home Depot, and there is a valve which I purchased, which has got a hose connection on it. It's just a quarter turn valve. Seems like it's some kind of a laundry connection piece or something, and I just cut a hole in the Home Depot bucket and attached it with a couple of washers in there. And then I am using 5 gallons of the antifreeze, and I put those in the bucket up here that is attached to a ladder with a bungee cord, which allows there to be siphoning down into the intake for the cooling. And then in addition, I have a can of fogging compound which I use to spray into the carburetor right at the end of the process where the antifreeze will be going into the engine. Okay, I've connected up the hose supplying water to the intake of the cooling system, the intake underneath the boat, using the fake lake or plunger or whatever you want to call it. And I started up the engine, and I'm just going to let it run for about 5 minutes. I want to make sure that it gets warm enough so that the thermostat will open up, and I can make sure that I get antifreeze when I put it in there to go all through the engine. I actually just put a couple of pieces of duct tape over the end of that so that it wouldn't shoot out into my garage. That's the reason for that. Obviously, the first thing that you want to do, even before you take your boat out, is I always run the engine good, take it for a ride, get the oil real warm, and then take the oil out using one of those little inexpensive pumps, and put in some fresh oil so that it's ready to go for next season. Okay, it's been running for about 5 minutes now, and pretty warm. I think it's been enough time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the engine now and hook up the hose to the bucket with the antifreeze in it. I've now shut off the engine and attached the hose directly from the intake on the cooling system to the bucket with the quarter turn valve on it, and the bucket is loaded up with the 5 gallons of antifreeze. I've also removed the flame arrestor from my carburetor so that when 5 gallons are just about drained out of there, I will start fogging that engine. And sometimes it actually kills the engine, but most of the time it doesn't. Okay, I'm all set now. I've got the bucket loaded up with 5 gallons of antifreeze. It's connected up to the quarter turn valve, and the hose is going down to the under the boat to the cooling intake. I removed the flame arrestor from the carburetor and have my fogging compounds right nearby, so that when that tank or when that bucket gets about 3/4 down, I will start fogging the carburetor. So I'm going to turn on the engine now, and as soon as I do that, I'll open this valve here, and the antifreeze will start going into the engine. Okay, the antifreeze is going down. I can tell that everything's working well. It's coming out the exhaust. It's pink. So in a minute here, I'm going to start fogging the engine. Okay, that's pretty much it. Took about 15-20 minutes. You get all your equipment together. The antifreeze is all drained out of the bucket, and I fogged the carburetor probably for about 15 seconds, I guess, right before the antifreeze ran out. It didn't shut off the engine, but as soon as I finished spraying that, I just turned it off. Should be good to go for another cold Michigan winter.